What's up everyone, it's me Z64 back at it again with another banger tutorial. Today we're going to be learning how to make oiled up Yakuza characters in Blender. Now, already this sounds crazy, but let me cook here. You see, it's not really that hard actually. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover three games engines. Essentially, we're going to cover the old engine, the old engine, and the Dragon engine in terms of how to oil them up effectively. But hey, let's just get on with it. So we're going to be starting off with the old engine. So just load your model, and it doesn't matter which one it has to, it just has to be a shirtless one. It doesn't even have to be shirtless. It just has to have skin. So just load your model in and follow along. For this part, I'm going to be using the Okinawa Kiryu from the very first cutscene of Yakuza 3. If you can't tell from here, it's this cutscene. So yeah, load a material preview, get your HDRIs ready, or load into render to get your lights ready. So yeah, whatever. We're gonna go here. Make sure to relink all your textures, because as you can see, he's missing some. Go into your text 0 folder and your common.par folder. You want to make sure go to the ADV folder in Yakuza 3, 4, 5, and you just want to extract that common.par file and then relink. And bam, look, it's Kiryu. Now that we're done with that, let's go set up the eyes. So we're gonna set up the cube map first and then the iris later. So I'm gonna actually switch over to the old engine shader by Not Yoshi, link in description. Just append the Uber shader, it depends everything already. But yeah, you don't have to, but I'd recommend it. Anyways, plug the cube map into the reflection and the reflection alpha. Then you want to tick that box called a reflection shader, and you want to invert the reflection alpha. Then you want to go select the material. Then you want to go to the UV editing tab and then select everything. Look for that cube map and then scale it to your liking. Now that we're done with the cube map, we want to edit the iris. And I'd also recommend to use the old engine shader for this too, because in the Neo shader, it's kind of messed up. So yeah, give it Not Yoshi's old engine Uber shader. Yeah, so what you want to do is you want to plug the diffuse, the normal, and SP, and where they have to be, like usual. And then you're gonna click specular shader and specular tint. All right, we're done here. So let me just add a simple little light. We're gonna add a point light real quickly. And there we have it. We got our light set up, and now we can move on to actually oiling up our characters. Alright, so what you want to do from here is import a separate color. Now put that into the MT. Now, as you can see, you might be wondering, why does it look like this? Well, I'll go into detail, control spacebar. Now, if you go to the red channel of the image, you'll see this is what the specular looks like. And then if you go to the blue channel, this is the specular multiplier. And then if you go to the green channel, it's just ambient occlusion. We don't care about this. Leave that alone. So we're just going to go back to previous. And then we're going to add a combined color node. And then we're going to plug everything else in. And boom, we got Yakuza 3 Kiryu. But he's not oiled up. So how do we fix that? So we're going to actually add a brightness and contrast node. And now what you can do is you can just up the brightness of it to make it more wet. So the brighter it is, the wetter he is, and the darker it is, the drier he is. So that's how this works. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this setup over to the red channel so that we can make it look more natural. Now that we're done with the old engine, let's go with the newer old engine, which isn't really that new because it's from 2014. But I digress. Let's move on. Alright, so I got Nishiki set up right here. So I'm going to talk a bit about the MT's old engine games. So automatically you can see a topology difference, but that's not what we're looking for. We're not wrapping anything anyways. So look at the red channel, specular, just like the old engine, just more detailed. Blue channel, specular multiplier. Then green channel, ambient occlusion. It's basically the same as the older engine, but just less red. You get what I'm saying? Anyways, the process is the same as the old engine, the older engine that we just discussed. Separate color. I'm all for black Nishiki, but we cannot have this. But yeah, separate color, combined color, Combine the red, green channel, and blue channel, and then put a brightness color in between the red channel and the blue channel. The higher the specular is, the higher the specular multiplier is, the wetter the character is. The higher the specular is, the more specular is shown. And make sure not to put any brightness and contrast nodes on the normal map, as you just saw. So yeah, that should be it for the old engine. Now we can move on to the Dragon engine. Full glorious PS4 HD, bruh. Alright, so far it's only been oiled up men. Now, we gotta have some diversity, you get what I'm saying? So, I chose to have Chitose here instead. So, immediately put that engine slider down to 0.1, just so that the subsurface doesn't show as much. But there's one way to do this that does not show on this, and that is using the roughness slider. It does not show as well if you do not have the engine slider to max. So yeah, you have to put it to max to make the roughness slider look, and you could very easily oil up your characters. But you could also turn the subsurface down, and then you can have decent subsurface with this setup. But this isn't all you can do, you know that, right? So let's get into MT editing real quick. Alright, just like every other engine I've covered so far, we're going to talk about the MTs. So, Dragon Engine MTs are actually very different from the older engine and the old engine of MTs. So, as you can see already, we have a difference in the red channel. This is metalness, not specular. So, yeah, the green channel is ambient occlusion, just like every other one. But the blue channel is a specular / glossiness map. So, the whiter the values, the more wet it gets. So that is the one we are going to be increasing the brightness of in this tutorial. So yeah, set up your separate and combined color, put a brightness and contrast node in between the blue channel. Then you just want to up the brightness on your thing. And yeah, this doesn't really work in the Neo shader, but I have an alternate solution that works for all engines. But right now I'll tell you about something else that you can do in other node groups, such as Galen's. Usually on other Yakuza shaders, there is a glossiness strength, so you can up that, lower that. It goes from 0 to 1. Yeah, on Galen's it's invert glossiness. Now you know what I said about that universal method? Yeah, all you gotta do is add a mix color in front of the MT, then plug the MT into the A, and then the B, just make it a teal color. Because when your MT is teal, that means it's because the bluer a channel is, the glossier it is. And also you can make it just plain white, that works too. But I'd recommend just keep it teal. That's the color of the IMT, and it makes it very wet. And the factor, you can just make that into glossiness. So now you have 3 ways on how to oil up every single engine of Yakuza characters. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have fun.
There's a rumor that our money in the Toto Bank